What is up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I know this is a long-awaited video, and I gotta be fairly quiet because I'm holding a baby. For anyone who follows me on socials, you know that my baby was extremely late, actually almost 42 weeks by the time he was born. Basically, when I got to about 40 weeks, I went to my last doctor's appointment and they basically told me that I was going to have to be induced. And most of the people I talk to that have been induced, including my own mom, have said that they got the medication and within a couple of hours they were pretty much having a baby. So everyone that I talked to was like, oh, it's fine, it's not a big deal. Some people I talked to were like, oh, if you get induced, it hurts a lot more because it's like forced contractions. You probably won't be able to do it natural. I was like, it's okay, I can handle this. So basically around the 3rd of February is when they had me scheduled to be induced. They told me to come into the hospital. It was around 9:30 in the morning. And they said they were going to give me a dose of Cytotec, which is like this little tiny pill that they put up in you, if you catch my drift. And supposedly it starts contractions. And they're like, oh, sometimes it doesn't work the first round, so we're going to need you to come back at around 3:30 p.m. and get another dose if it doesn't work. I go to the triage area, which is like where they put people that are like starting labor before they put them in an actual room. So I go to the triage area, they hook me up to all the monitors and everything. And they gave me my first dose of Cytotec. And nothing. I felt nothing, like absolutely, completely nothing. So it was, so everyone was like, it's okay, just go eat some food, come back, we'll try again in a few hours. So I go back again around 3:30 for my second dose of Cytotec. I felt nothing. Like, that's 2 hits of Cytotec. I did not feel any contractions. I did not feel a single difference at all. I wasn't dilating, nothing was happening. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to have you come back again tomorrow and we're going to do this whole thing again. So I came back again at 9:30 in the morning the next day, which was the 4th of February. They gave me another dose of Cytotec. And at this point, according to the computer monitor screen that was monitoring like my belly and everything, I was having contractions. But I wasn't feeling them. They must have been so minuscule, I didn't even feel them. Come back again, 3:30 p.m., and we'll try it again. And might I add, each time they dose you with the Cytotec, it's not just like a process. They put it up in there, oh, nothing happened. They put it up in there, and then they make you sit in the triage for like 2 or 3 hours to monitor, because obviously they're not just going to make you go into labor and send you home. So I had to sit in this triage for hours each time, which was 4 doses, about 2 or 3 hours each. I spent like 12 hours of my life in a triage. So by the 4th dose of this stuff, they were like, oh, you're having contractions, but you're not dilating. I wasn't feeling them, blah, blah, blah. like by the time I hit the 5th, they were pretty serious about getting it out by any means possible. Like there was no leaving the hospital at that point. So I get there at 2:30 in the morning on the 5th with my mom. My mom has been there through all of this because who else would have been there?
Soothing peppermint lotion to invigorate your feet and your spirit. And our special sandal adapters, so you'll never be without your walk fits. And now, as part of our Comfort Spectacular, you can cradle your feet in comfort.
After 4 doses of Cytotec completely failed, barely had any contractions, did not dilate at all, they were like, okay, we're going to give you a Foley balloon. Now, the best way to describe this is it's like one of those balloons that clowns make like little animals with, you know what I'm talking about? Like a little like long balloon. They basically put that up in you and then they fill it with like at the very end, it's not like a whole thing. It's not like a giant like cucumber balloon. Like don't get it twisted. It's just the very end of it they fill with like a saline solution. So like it like widens your area down there and makes you go into labor, I guess. So they give me this balloon and I actually do start kind of feeling contractions. They weren't horrible at this point. They just kind of felt like period cramps. I was like, ooh, ouch. Okay, I'm feeling something.
Deep press. It's coming down. It's almost over. How was that one?
Bad. And then they just stopped. And I felt like a whole bunch of wetness. Like, not like, you know, good kind of wetness. Like, what the hell kind of wetness. So I was like, wait a second, like what's going on? Did like my water break or something? And so we called one of the people to come in. Like they wanted to check on me and see how my contractions and stuff were doing. And they're like, oh, oopsie, the balloon deflated. So here I am sitting in the triage for like an hour with a deflated balloon inside of me that was pretty much doing nothing. They were like, oh crap, we need to put another one up in you. And might I add, this doesn't feel good. When they put it up in there, it literally feels like it's not the worst pain in the world, but it feels pretty uncomfortable. Like, I don't really know how to describe it. Kind of like when you get like an exam and they put that thing in you and open it, it kind of feels like that. And it kind of hurts, like they're poking you with like a tool or something up in there. Not fun, okay? And I had to do it twice.
Do you want to tell them what it's like to have a contraction?
It hurts. Very bad. Obviously, I'm not having one right now. I wouldn't be laughing.
I think you're about to have one.
It's cry-worthy.
Yeah. You feel like saying bad words?
Yeah.
But you're doing really well. You haven't cursed anyone out yet. You haven't said not one single bad word. And Mr. Tiger's doing so good.
He's kicking. He's still in there.
What did they do to you this morning?
They stuck a balloon up me twice.
Yeah, the first one popped.
Yeah, the first one popped. The second one is still up there, but there's blood coming out. Ever since I adjusted positions, it chilled out a little.
Chilled?
But it still hurts. It's like a constant pain.
We're going to a room soon. We're only going to be here a little bit longer, and then we're going to go to a room. And hopefully to delivery not long after that. Now starting.
Oh my god.
Breathe. Want me to rub your back again?
Maybe. Oh my god.
Do it. Breathe, deep breaths.
So at this point, not only am I definitely feeling contractions, but I was bleeding. Like at one point I had to get up and go to the bathroom, and I was like, I have to get up and go to the bathroom. And I'm just gonna throw this in the video because a lot of people kept sending me DMs and stuff like, girl, you need to go walk around. You need to get that labor started. You need to go walk. I was hooked up to like a contraction monitor, a baby heartbeat monitor, my heartbeat monitor, and I had a freaking balloon hanging out my crotch. Like it wasn't just like up there and it's like, oh, you don't see it. There's like a whole like balloon string hanging out my crotch. Like it's not really one of those things you just walk it off, you know? Plus it would have fallen out. Same with the side attack. Like one of the reasons why I couldn't get up and walk around is because when it's up in you, you need to lay down so it stays up in you. So yeah, at this point, I'm having contractions, I'm bleeding. I got up and went to the bathroom and literally blood was dripping out of me all over the floor, all over the bathroom. Like someone in the triage, like another patient was like, there's blood on the bathroom floor. I'm like, I told you guys I'm like bleeding, like, and that's kind of concerning because, you know, when you're pregnant, you don't bleed for like 9 months. So when blood starts coming out of you, you're like, oh my God. So at this point, they're like, okay, clearly you're in labor. Let's check you into a room. Let's get this party started.
I'm gonna go show the bed with the baby's things.
The contractions were kind of slowing down a bit and I wasn't really dilating at all. I mean, the balloon got me to like maybe 2 or 3 centimeters, I think. And might I add, you have to get to 10 to have a baby. So they're like, okay, we're gonna give you, I think they gave me Pitocin and like oxytocin in an IV.
This is what we're doing today. Every 30 minutes.
This nurse comes in to give me the IV and she puts it in the side of my hand. I don't know if you can see, there's like still like a mark right there. I don't know why she put it in the side of my hand. I don't know. It was really weird. But she like dropped like this tube or something. I don't know. I wasn't looking. I don't want to look when I get stabbed. And literally blood was like gushing out of my hand. It was all over my hand. It was dripping on the floor. It was dripping on the hospital bed. And might I add, that IV she stuck in the side of my hand was in there for 3 days. So they just put tape over the blood and I had like dried blood on my hand for like 3 days. It was great. So the way they gave me the Pitocin and the oxytocin and all of that was through an IV, and they're like, this should speed up your contractions, whatever. So I have this balloon shoved up in me. I had 4 doses of side attack.
I can hear that monitor.
I'm now getting a whole IV drip of like Pitocin and oxytocin.
Well, we're in a room now. Contractions are regular. I'm gonna hang out here until the baby comes. And they're gonna put him right over in that bassinet. I wish I could climb in that right now and get warm.
I wasn't on any like epidural or anything at this point. When I hit 3 centimeters, the doctor came in and like told me like, hey, you can get an epidural now if you want. And I was like, no, I'm trying to do this natural. So, okay. So eventually, like, since nothing was happening, the IV wasn't doing anything, nothing was doing anything. She's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to break your water. And I've watched videos on the internet of people getting their water broken. And usually they stick like a little hook thing up in you and like poke it like a balloon, I'm guessing. Yeah, that's not what she did. And I wasn't on an epidural and this hurt. She just shoved her fingers up there like, like really hard, like rammed me with her fingers. It hurt. It hurt so bad. Honestly, out of the whole experience, like having the baby, having contractions, everything, nothing compared to getting my water broken. I was screaming, like medieval torture, screaming. And like, I swear to God, like 3 gallons of water came out of me. So much water, fluid, whatever it was, came out of me. My socks got soaked. My mom had to like take my socks off. The whole bed got soaked. They had to like change the sheets. They had to like change the pad on the bed. Like, it was horrible. And the doctor had this like Chucky grin, like, that's the most water I've ever seen. Honestly, out of the whole experience, that was the most painful. I'm just gonna keep it real. Getting my water broken with no epidural was the worst thing ever. So after my water got broken, after this balloon thing was still inside of me, after the Pitocin and everything else, I finally started having some serious contractions. And whoa, like that's what labor feels like. I thought that I could handle that. I could not. So first things first, I told them to give me the nitrous. I was like, okay, bring in the nitrous. I'm losing it.
You're in a break. How you doing?
That didn't do anything. I don't know who thought nitrous would do something. The only thing it really does is distract you and kind of calm you down a little bit, but it doesn't do anything else other than that. Because I had so much going on, because my water was broken, because I had all this IV drip in me and everything else, usually you have like a couple minutes between each contraction, so you can take like a breather and go, okay, like another one's coming, and like it's all monitored on a computer screen so you can see them coming. And mine were just right on top of each other, like every 30 seconds or so, like one would stop, and then right when one would stop, another one would start. I had no break, and it was very bad, and I don't know how long I withstood this for. Maybe an hour. I don't know. My perception of time was way off at this point. It could have been worse for me because I was dosed with so much like induction meds. I've heard it does hurt. Like, I've had friends that have done it completely natural with nothing, no being induced. And then they said their next kid was induced, and they're like, it was horrible when I was induced. So I'm only comparing it to that, realizing there's no way I can do this. I'm pretty much crying. I'm sobbing at this point. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like sobbing with like nitrous gas. I really was against the epidural because I know it makes your back hurt. Like right now as I'm filming this, my back is effing killing me. So, and it still hasn't really, like if I bend over for too long or try to sit up in like, you know, an upright position like this for too long, it hurts. And some people are like, my back never went back to normal. Great. I couldn't do it. So I was like, bring in the anesthesia person, bring in the epidural. I can't do this. The guy comes in and he's trying to like explain to me. He has this like, he's like drawing it out on a piece of paper, like your spine is set up like this, and then we stick a needle in it. And I'm just like, I don't care. Just do it. Just do it. Like, and they make you sign a waiver too. Like, I guess like in case you go numb for life, they want you to sign a waiver or something. So I was like, whatever. Honestly, getting an epidural does not really hurt at all. I mean, the contractions and everything was way worse than getting an epidural. Like, the pain from getting my water broken and the contractions was worse than anything I experienced, so, in my whole life. So getting like a little shot in your back, whatever they did, It wasn't bad. They like give you a shot first to like numb you, and then they stick something in your back that like drips this like yellow liquid into your back, which is like the epidural. But before that happened, I was like, can I please go to the bathroom? Because I knew like I wasn't going to be able to stand up and they were going to put a catheter and all that crap in me. But I remember going to the bathroom and peeing like while having contractions and like bleeding everywhere and everything. They give you these giant pads at the hospital, and like just chunks of blood were coming out of me into the pad. And they had this like thing in the toilet. They like to like measure your pee or something. I don't know. It was really weird. But I just like sat down and peed at one point, and just like chunks of like blood were like, I was like, there's like skin and stuff coming out of me. And she's like, it's not supposed to be skin, that's your mucus plug. I was like, whatever, it's there's a lot coming out. Am I okay? I sit down back on the bed. They gave me the epidural and pretty much felt nothing after that.
Tell everybody what just happened.
A lot of pain, so I got an epidural.
You feeling better now?
Yeah.
Just got a few more hours to go. Might as well relax. Dad's here now with the baby stuff. Maybe we can rest a little while before this all happens. Probably at midnight.
Except for a little bit of throbbing pain here and there. It was weird because they gave me the epidural and it's just like, it numbs, like you can touch your legs. You feel nothing. Like nothing. I don't really know how else to describe it. You're completely numb. They put the catheter thingy in me. I didn't feel that either. Thank God. At this point, it was nighttime again. So this whole ordeal of getting my water broken, getting an epidural, going through contractions, going through all of that was hours. They put this like peanut ball thing between my legs and were like, you need to like have your legs spread open so like your cervix can start dilating and stuff. So at this point, I was slowly dilating. I was maybe at like 4 or 5 centimeters after all of this. So they put this peanut ball thing between my legs and they made me like lay on my side. And the only time I felt pain was if I was laying on one side. It seems like all the drip went to like one side. And then after a while of laying there, I could start feeling the contractions on another side. So I would like hit the nurse button and be like, can you come like, because I couldn't move. Like I couldn't roll over and be like, oops, I guess I need to roll over. You can't move your legs or your body or anything. Like they were just limp, like dead limp weight. So a nurse had to come in and like rotate me and everything. And at this point, this went all through the night. Like I'm talking like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was just hooked up to this epidural with this ball between my legs, trying to sleep. It wasn't happening. I was hooked up to so much crap. I was hooked up to oxytocin, Pitocin. I had all these baby monitors. I had a blood pressure monitor. Like it was, and an IV. It was like super hard to sleep. So after enduring this all night, at about like, I want to say like 4 o'clock, no, maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning, they like came in and checked like my temperature and they're like, you're burning up. You have like, you possibly have an infection or a fever now because your water was broken too long ago. I don't think that was the case. I was just hooked up to so much stuff and so anxious that I couldn't move and everything. I was starting to get like overheated, you know, like hot. I don't think I had a fever. I just think I was overheated and freaking out. But they claimed I had a fever, so then they hooked me up to antibiotics. They're like, well, we can't have the baby get a fever. We need to hook you up to antibiotics. So after enduring this all night long, it was around like 5 o'clock in the morning. The doctor comes in and they've been checking me periodically, like every hour or so. And they're like, yeah, you're not dilating, you're not dilating. I got to like 6 centimeters. You're not in danger. You could, you know, do this for another 20 hours if you really wanted to, which is probably likely going to happen. Like, because I was dilating like a centimeter every like 5 hours. And she was like, yeah, this could last like another day of this. I can take you into a C-section and we can just get it done and the baby will be here in like 30 minutes. And I was like, ooh, like I really just didn't know who wants a C-section, right? Like that's horrible. So she's like, I'll be back in an hour. She's like, I'll be back at 6 o'clock in the morning. So you tell me at 6 if you want the C-section or not. I was like, should I just do it or should I? Because there's a chance that I could have gone through the whole process. I could have taken all this medication and everything and dilated to 10 centimeters and pushed and pushed and pushed for like hours. And they'd be like, well, he's not coming out, so we're going to have to give you an emergency C-section now. I really just didn't want it to get to that point. I did not want to go through labor for like a whole nother day just to find out that the pushing wasn't going to work. So when she came back at 6 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I asked her every question I could possibly think of. Am I ever going to be able to dance again? Is there going to be ugly staples? A whole bunch of stupid, not a whole bunch, but like a handful of stupid people were like, rest in peace, Hello Kitty tattoo. You know they don't like slice you across your stomach, right? Like that's not how a C-section works. Like they literally cut you like right above your vajay. Not anywhere near my Hello Kitty tattoo, like inches away from it. It's fine. My tattoo is fine, so thanks for your concern, but it's fine. So they wheeled me into the room. They literally like put the little hair thingy on me, like the hairnets. I really did not want to go into a C-section. It literally looks like a lethal injection table. It's not like a nice comfy looking bed. It's like a small little narrow like bed. And I was numb from the epidural. I could not move. They had to like roll me onto it. They strap your arms down, which makes it even more like once they started strapping my arms down, I started like shaking really bad. They strap your arms down like Jesus on the cross status. Like I'm not joking. That's what I felt like. And they put the tarp up, so obviously I'm not seeing my stomach getting cut open, because who would want to see that? But you guys are going to see it, because my mom got pictures. I did not want to go into major surgery, and I was shaking. So they dosed me with like Demerol or fentanyl or something. They dosed me with it so I would calm down. Didn't really work, though. I was shaking like the whole time. Since I already had an epidural in my back, they put like the numbing stuff, they unplugged the epidural and plugged in something else. I don't know what kind of anesthesia it is. It numbs your whole body basically from like your like boob area down. You can't feel anything. I didn't feel anything. I remember she poked me. It felt like she poked me like with her finger, like poke, poke, poke. And she's like, can you feel that? And that was the last thing I remember. I was like, yes. And then she's like, okay. And then like I feel a bunch of like tugging and pulling, and I'm like, are they like cutting into me? And then like 2 seconds later, I hear like, like crying. The baby was out in like seconds. Like I don't even know how fast they sliced me or how it happened or what. But within seconds, the baby was out.
He's mad. He didn't want to come out of there.
So comfortable.
Oh.
I was crying. I mean, I was so overwhelmed from not sleeping, from being induced for like 3 days. And then all of a sudden I hear like my baby. And I'm like, oh my God, he's okay. And I vaguely remember them holding him up so I could like see him. And I just remember looking at his face. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, he looks like normal, you know? Like, I don't know why I had this fear like he was gonna come out like deformed or like something wrong with him. That kind of sucks about getting a C-section, like when you actually have your own like natural birth out your vagina or whatever. They place the baby on you, you get to cut the cord, you get to see him instantly. I didn't get that. Like they pulled him out of me. I didn't even see what the umbilical cord looked like. My mom said it looked cool. I don't know. I didn't see it.
That's sad. Okay, I'll put him right next to it.
Didn't get to see the placenta, the cord, any of that. I didn't get to see them cut it. Nothing. They just pulled him out of me. They by the time I got to see him, he was already cleaned up and wrapped in like a little blanket. Like, I didn't see like any of the bloodiness or any of that. Well, I did see some blood, but it had nothing to do with the baby. Like, he was already cleaned and ready to go by the time they handed him to me. My mom was the first one to like hold him and like brought him over to me and was like, this is what he looks like, and like placed him like next to my face. And I remember just like kissing on his little head. I just wasn't even really comprehending what was going on. That's like the worst thing about a C-section, I'd say, is you're so drugged up and out of it. You're like, oh cool, like that's my baby. Like, you are so gone. He was born at about 6:45 in the morning, exactly on the dot, 6:45. But it took them what felt like 30 minutes to sew me back up. Like, sewing everything back up is what takes the longest during the C-section. So you're just like laying there staring at the ceiling. I remember I was like passing out. Like, I was literally closing my eyes and like passing out. Like, you can feel like people like tugging and pulling on your insides, but it doesn't like hurt. Does that make sense? Like, you can feel stuff going on, but it's not like painful. It's an interesting feeling having someone slice you open and pull a baby out. Not gonna lie. I don't really ever want to experience that again. But honestly, this whole process of having a baby was so like kind of traumatizing. I don't even know if I even want to have another kid. But who knows? If I end up with someone someday who's like my soulmate, not gonna leave me, maybe you might be worth it for me to do this again in like 4 years. Not anytime soon. After that, they got me off the bed and they took me into like a recovery room where they brought the baby in there too.
Your foot got a little twisted that way, huh? Otherwise, hi, I know it looks funny, but I get better footprints this way. Come on over, we'll do an assessment real quick, okay? Gloves are right here.
And this is also a part that sucks, is like when they stamped his feet, when they gave him all of his shots and everything. I missed all of that. Like, I was literally like in and out of like consciousness. Don't even really remember any of that. And they tried to like hand him to me so I could do like skin to skin and like hold him and stuff. And like, I was shaking so bad. Like, I was like, I can't hold him, I'm gonna drop him, I'm shaking, oh my God. I was like freaking out. I kept telling them, like, you gave me some medication and I can't keep my eyes open, like I'm passing out.
How strong his or her? I can't tell.
Him. It's hit.
Strong his neck is.
Yeah. Oh,
Congratulations.
is that a burp?
They put him on me and he was like trying to feed like instantly. I remember, I mean, I didn't see this, but according to my mom, he like instantly pooped when they took him out of me.
All right. Vitals, we wrote down 37.3, 150 is extra. And then he still kind of has some grunts in here. So we want him to feed. So I think in order for
She just wanted to try, right?
Yeah. That's fine.
When the first time I held him, he was already like trying to suck on like my boobs and stuff. And so like I tried to feed him, but I was like shaking. I like couldn't even hold him. It was so bad. Yeah, my mom was here for this whole process. They stripped me naked multiple times, whipped my boobs out, whipped my vajay out. Like, no shame. Like, when I went into like surgery, they just put me on this table butt ass naked. So they gave him all of his shots. They stamped his feet. They fingerprinted me. They gave him like the little, what is that thing called? Like the little hospital band. Like we kept it. We're gonna keep it forever. My mom kept mine and I'm 30. So yeah, they gave him a hospital band. They gave me a hospital band and they gave my mom a hospital band. Cause like, I don't think people steal babies all the time, but there's actually like a little monitor. Like, you know, when you steal clothes from the store and there's like a little like tag that like sets the alarm off. They give that to babies now. They put like a tag on them. So like if anyone tries to take it out of the hospital, an alarm goes off. It's kind of crazy. And anyone who doesn't have like a wristband that's like in a certain proximity of like the monitor that's on him, it will, like if I was passed out in my room or something and someone stole my baby, Like, and it went like a certain distance away from my wristband, it would have went off, which is kind of cool. So after this whole like recovery process, they took me up to like a recovery room. The actual C-section itself didn't hurt. Like I said, I could feel it and everything, but when they unplugged me from the epidural and that wore off and I started feeling my legs again and they were like, you need to stand up and walk. First time standing up after getting a C-section hurts so bad. And to this day, like 10 days after having a baby is when I'm filming this. If I sneeze or cough or laugh, it hurts. It's getting easier to stand up and get out of bed, but for the first couple days after having the baby, standing up, like when he would cry, to like, first of all, I was hooked to an IV, like I said, for like 4 days. So it's like the machine, like the cord only went so far. And so like anytime I would reach to grab him out of his little like crib thingy when he was crying, like the IV like would barely reach. I could barely stand up. I was in so much pain. Like, this is why it's good to have, like, you know, a baby daddy or something, because I was all alone in this hospital room. Like, my mom was exhausted. So, like, after he was born, she, like, left that, like, a little bit later that day. Like, he was born at 6:45 in the morning. So, like, later in the afternoon, she left. And I spent, like, 2 days there alone with him, pretty much. And every time he cried or Peter crapped himself or anything, it was me with hooked up to all these IVs and crap with a C-section, having to roll out of bed and grab him. Just like the birth, I had issues with like my milk coming in. Clearly I don't have that issue anymore. But for the first couple days, I had like no milk or anything. And he was pretty much scream crying because he was hungry. And I was trying to like explain that to people. I was like, I'm not making any milk. And when I came home from the hospital, it was actually like 4 or 5 days later by the time I made milk. So like we had to feed him formula for like a bunch of days. And I kept saying in the hospital, like, I'm not making any milk. And they kept giving me some lecture on colostrum. Like, oh, that's fine. I'm like, literally, he's like sucking my boobs and nothing is coming out. They're bleeding. Breastfeeding hurts. It doesn't hurt as much anymore. Like now that I've been doing this for like almost 2 weeks, it like, they're getting used to it. Like there's plenty of like milk in there and it's fine. But like the first couple days when he would like latch on, it hurt really bad. Nothing was coming out. My recovery process in the hospital, I was in like the recovery room for like 2 days. After the C-section, I was at the hospital for another 2 days. So I was there for pretty much a week of my life after getting induced multiple times, all that. They check on you like every hour, so it's impossible to get sleep. I was not sleeping at all. Like they would come in and like you need to take your medication, and they kept trying to give me opioids, I mean, whatever, opiates, opioids, same thing. First of all, like why do they want you breastfeeding on like Oxycontin? That doesn't make any sense to me. Agreed to take the ibuprofen eventually. I was like, fine, I'll take the ibuprofen, whatever. They're like, you need to get up, you need to walk around, you need to take a shower, you need to get the bandages off. So I did. I walked around. I ate the food they gave me. I took a shower. I took the bandages off. And I remember when I first took a shower and took the bandages off, I was like, what's it gonna look like? Like I was like, I'm ruined. I'm ruined for life. I took it off in the shower and I couldn't see. Like my stomach was still pretty like big and jiggly. Like, I mean, I didn't like instantly get skinny like after having the baby. So I still couldn't really see what it looked like. But I did look in the mirror after my shower and saw that it really wasn't that bad. I was like, oh, it's like tiny little like incision. It looks like a cat scratch. Obviously, I'm gonna make a postpartum video where I'm gonna show you what it looks like down there and everything. But right now I can't because it doesn't look like, one, I can't shave, and it's in like that area. Everything else down there I've shaved, but like where they did the incision, I can't shave over that, so there's like hair growing. Sorry, TMI. Once I can shave it off, then I will show you guys what it looks like. There's no like staples in it. Someone's like, you're gonna have staples. There's no staples down there. To me, it looks like they just like super glued it closed. It looks like a cat scratch they like super glued, but closer looking at it, I can see like stitches. Like I can see like the string on like one of the sides of it. So there definitely is stitches in there that I'm guessing are gonna dissolve or fall out. But it's not that bad, honestly. Like I was like, that's it, I'm ruined. I'm ruined for life. No one's gonna ever date me again. I'm screwed. Like honestly, like it's really like not even that noticeable at all. Honestly, I think trying to push it out the other way would have hurt a lot worse. And there is a chance, especially like when you see how big this baby is, like, and how small I am. I'm like a small human, you know. One of my fears was that they were going to have to do like an episiotomy, is that what it's called? Where they take, you know, scissors or whatever, just cut your vajay to your booty hole and make like a nice big opening. It's okay though, they sew you back up, but that was like another fear of mine. I didn't want them to cut a giant hole down there. So I avoided that. I avoided possibly tearing, but like I said, it looks like a cat scratch. Like it's about the size of a cat scratch. Like, and I've only just had my C-section 10 days ago, so I'm assuming over years, over time, it's gonna be so barely noticeable. One thing I will say right now is another reason why I don't want to show it to you is, I don't know if you guys have watched like surgery type shows where people get nose jobs and stuff and their whole face bruises up. That's pretty much what happened. Like my skin down there is all bruised up, like purple bruised. So I don't really want to show you like a hairy bruised up incision. It's kind of gross. That was my birth experience. It did not go as planned. But I got a baby out of it. He's here. He's perfectly healthy.
I know it's cold. I'm sorry.
He seems to like it.
Everybody likes their hair played
Maybe,
with.
yeah, because it was kind of crusty. You know, he might be like, yeah, I need to get that
Oh, get that nasty stuff off, huh? No?
dust out of there.
You like the nasty stuff? That's okay.
It smells nice. Oh, you're gonna comb it. Oh. Oh, look how pretty his hair is when it's fixed. That looks very nice, Tiger.
Okay, here we go.
That's
You're
some
a long
beautiful
child. Oh
hair.
my gosh.
He's only 20 inches. That's not that long, is it? My kids are like 21. She's got a bunch of people who've been following this whole pregnancy, and now they get to see the tiger actually here.
Oh.
Well, he's not that mad.
Tell me.
He's not your worst customer, is he?
No. Little girls are worse.
That's 'cause
Okay. Look here. Tell me it's okay. There you go. See? Hi. I see you peeking now.
Now he's looking. Oh, let me go around the other side. And
1, 2, 3.
oh, you gotta get those pits washed.
What else?
I didn't see my kids getting bathed. Thank goodness.
He's not hurt. He's fine, I promise.
Oh, now he
See?
seems happy enough.
Not so bad.
He's like, I'm not gonna get out of this, am I?
There's no escaping.
I might as well just relax and enjoy.
You okay? Oh,
We spoke
Mr.
too
Drama
soon.
Queen.
He's been sleeping in my arm this whole time. I have like a dead arm from holding him because he was getting a little fussy and I needed to film, so I couldn't have him screaming in the background. Don't know if I ever want to do this again. And if I do, I'm not doing it for another couple of years. And honestly, as much as I did not want a C-section, I'm glad I got a C-section, and I probably would do it again over trying to have it naturally. I'm kind of jealous of people who do get to just have a natural water birth at home or something, because the whole time I was in labor, the whole time I was in the hospital, I was hooked up to tons of IVs. I had crap hanging out of my crotch. There wasn't even the chance or the possibility to get in the tub, to walk around, to do what like most normal people get to do during pregnancy. Obviously, I'm not going to make everything on this channel baby related, but my next few at least my next video is going to be pregnancy / baby related. And obviously you guys probably want to see what he looks like, so. Oh my gosh. He's been sleeping. Have you been sleeping? Oh, he poops a lot. He's got the sweetest little face. Look his eye. He's like, you're squishing my head. I'm sorry, did I squish your little head? All right, so if you like this video, make sure to like this video. If you have any comments or any questions or anything, just leave them down below, because I respond and answer everything. And obviously subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed already. If you want to stay up to date with me, make sure to follow me on all of my socials. Twitter, I'm active on there, post every day. Instagram, I post every day. TikTok, I'm about to hit 20K. What? Why do I have 20K on TikTok? I don't even know. But follow me on TikTok. The links for everything are going to be in the description of this video. Son's Instagram, also going to be in the description. I try not to post too many baby pictures or baby spam on my actual account, so make sure to follow him. Everything is in the description of this video. And I guess I will see you guys next time. Bye.